Welcome from the First Presbyterian Church in Burbank. We're glad you're here. Let's join the service now and hear the proclaiming of God's Word.
Isaiah chapter 40, verses 25 through 31. Listen to the word of the Lord from the prophet Isaiah from God. To whom then will you compare me, that I should be like him, says the Holy One? Lift up your eyes and see. Who created these? He who brings out their host by number, calling them all by name, by the greatness of his might, and because he is strong in power, not one is missing. Why do you say, O Jacob, and speak, O Israel? My way is hidden from the Lord, and my right is disregarded by my God. Have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might he increases strength. Even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. It's a passage that I often use at a funeral or memorial service because it talks about, especially people at a time like that, needing to know that God is there, God is with them, God can give them strength. But this morning I wanted to preach on this because we need to know that as well, that God is there, God is with us, God gives us strength. And the term for the title for the sermon is called Monday Morning Christians. Now, you may not be familiar with that term, but you may have heard of Sunday morning Christians, have you not? Those are the people, Sunday morning Christians, who come to church and put on a religious identity for the morning. But when Monday comes, they return back to the same lives as they have always been. Sunday morning Christians are often those that others deem, the church. They're filled with a bunch of hypocrites. And Sunday morning Christians can be. They put on an act for the worship service. Instead of being transformed by the Holy Spirit into the image of Jesus Christ. That's Monday morning Christians. Now, Jesus had a lot of things to say about hypocrites. In fact, that word in the Greek that he uses, that's used of him, though he spoke in Aramaic, hypocrite, could be translated actor. Because in the ancient world, when the actors got up on stage and did their dramatic performances, they would put on a mask and act out that part, and then put on another mask and act out that part. The word hypocrite could mean actor. And Jesus was calling people hypocrites who were putting on masks. Now, we all know what that's like because we have a bit of hypocrisy in ourselves, don't we? But Jesus calls us away from hypocrisy into authenticity. To be the people that we're called to be. The people, good or bad, just living right before the world so they can see our faith in God, whether it's good or bad. Monday morning Christians are different than Sunday morning Christians. Because Monday morning Christians are not putting on masks or trying to put on masks, they're trying to take them off. Monday morning Christians believe that there's tremendous value in gathering together as the people of God, coming to worship. And when they do come to worship, they don't ask the question, what did I get out of worship today? They ask the question, how was God worshiped today? Now, we may get things from being at church and being in the community with one another, but those are benefits. Our main focus as Monday morning Christians is to live our faith out all the time wondering, how is God pleased with what we're doing? How do we worship God? How do we bring worth to God's name? That's what worship means. We've already talked about that. That's a Monday morning Christian. They're concerned with their body and how they can serve and honor God. Their body, soul, mind, and spirit. Not just spiritual people, but they look at their whole lives and say, how can I bring glory and praise to God? That's a Monday morning Christian. Now, as we look at the words from the prophet Isaiah in Isaiah 40, and we hear what the Lord is saying to us today, I'm assuming we're Monday morning Christians. Is that okay? Not Sunday morning Christians. We don't need more of those. Well, wherever we are this morning, let us turn our mind and hearts to the Lord to make the words real to us, that the Holy Spirit would teach us things. Would you pray with me? Holy God, as we've read this passage from your prophet, we ask that your Spirit would speak to our lives and our hearts, that you would make us the people you created us to be, that you would give us ears to hear and hearts to obey. Speak to us of eternal things and transform us, Lord, as we're here in this place, by your Spirit, transform us into the image of your dear Son, Jesus. Amen. Isaiah 40 is a pivotal passage in the Bible. Pivotal. Now, I believe everything about the Bible, every chapter, every verse, every word is revelation from God to us. Powerful words. It's the Word of God. But Isaiah 40 is a pivotal verse, a pivotal chapter in the Bible. Isaiah 40 to 55, those chapters talk about God being God alone. That there are no other gods, that's monotheistic. It's saying that God is the only God who created all things, and the only God that there is. All the rest of them are fake. They're not real. Now, we look back in the Bible, we're very privileged to do so from the very beginning, the book of Genesis, that God created the heavens and the earth. We know, and we understand, there's always only been one God. There always will only be one God. We get monotheism. But the ancients didn't understand that. By the time of Moses, they didn't believe that there was one God. They believed there was many gods. They heard the 10 Commandments that God gave to Moses, and when it says, "You shall have no other gods before me," they took that as, okay, you're the high God of many gods. It's a little bit easier then to see them worshiping these other gods throughout their history and understanding what they were thinking. In the Shema, Deuteronomy 6:4, "Hear, O Israel, Shema Israel, hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one," the central teaching of Judaism. When it was first given, the people understood that as, okay, there's only one God for us, Israel. All the other nations have other gods. We are only to have one God. So they didn't quite get monotheism like we do, looking back and understanding it. And so in Isaiah chapter 40, all the way through 55, we hear Isaiah saying, "Come on, people. Are you kidding me? Have you not figured this out yet? There is only one God." We hear Isaiah the prophet in Isaiah 40, verses 21 through 25. "Do you not know? Have you not heard? Has it not been told to you from the beginning? Have you not understood since the earth was founded? He sits enthroned above the circle of the earth, and its people are like grasshoppers. He stretches out the heavens like a canopy and spreads them out like a tent to live in. He brings princes to naught and reduces the rulers of this world to nothing. No sooner are they planted, no sooner are they sown, no sooner do they take root in the ground than he blows on them, and they wither, and whirlwind sweeps them away like chaff. To whom will you compare me, or who is my equal, says the Holy One." Isaiah went on to say that God alone is creator, God alone is everlasting, God alone is the only God of the past, present, and future. Chapter 44, God says, "I am the first and the last. Apart from me, there is no God. Who then is like me? Let him proclaim it. Let him declare and lay out before me what has happened since I established my ancient people and what is yet to come. Yes, let them foretell what will come. Do not tremble, do not be afraid. Did I not proclaim this and foretell it long ago? You are my witnesses. Is there any God besides me? No, there is no other rock. I know not one." In chapter 45, God says, "I am the Lord, there is no other. Apart from me, there is no God." We get that. We understand that. We look back and say, how did the ancients even consider that there could be other gods? And sometimes we think of them as just kind of silly, ignorant, stupid people. The ancients were not stupid at all. The study of history, you find things that we haven't figured out that they once did. How could they worship all these gods? Well, it's easy to look at them and look back on them with judgmentalism. But what we find out is this, and I'm going to say it this morning. We know there is a God, one God. There are no false gods. They don't exist at all. That the Bible tells us to do everything for the glory of God because there's only one God. But here's the deal. We still worship those false gods. Now, we don't do it mentally, but we do it in our living out of our lives. We worship the false gods. In the span of thousands of years, we haven't changed at all. We still look to the god of Mammon, the Canaanite god of riches, the god of money and stuff. Jesus told us we couldn't serve Mammon and God at the same time. And so we're to choose between one or the other. We'll not find happiness if we trust in money and stuff. We'll find it when we look to the God who cares about us, who supplies all our needs. We'll find happiness and joy when we look to the God who knows all about us, everything about us, knows our situations, and would not withhold anything from us. Did you know that? If you're like me, there's this gut instinct of sin that says, God, why would you hold back from me? Why? And God's saying, but I'm not. We're told in the book of Romans, he who did not spare his own son for us, how would he not give us all good things? And yet we go on serving the god Mammon. We try to get stuff and money and find it by looking down and finding that stuff when we should be looking up to God who can supply all our needs. We worship the god Molech, the Canaanite god of pleasure. Now, we don't acknowledge it. And so we look back at the ancient Israelites who took their children, their little infants, and they put them in the hands of a statue called Moloch, or threw them in the belly where fire was raging and burned their children alive, because by doing so they would be guaranteed by the god of pleasure more sexual pleasure. We say how silly those people were. But I would dare say we're still doing that today. We're still selling out our children for sexual pleasures. The list goes on. It goes on and on and on. Though we believe in one God, who is the Creator, who is above all and in all and through all, we live out worshiping these false gods who promise us things that we'll never get because they rob us of everything that we have. And when we turn our power over to them, they kill us. Isn't it amazing that the true God of all died for us? Tell me one story of an ancient God who ever did that for humans. But that's the God we worship. That is the God of all. And when we see Isaiah telling people and reminding them, saying, come on, people, have you not figured it out yet? There is only one God. Put your trust in that God. Isaiah does that not by way of rebuke, but by way of comfort. Even the words of Isaiah 40 begin with, comfort. God says to Isaiah, comfort my people. He says it twice. Comfort them. They're hurting. They've been robbed. I'm going to bring them back. I'm going to give them good things. Tell them just to look for me. Isaiah is not scolding the Israelites or condemning their lack of faith. He's just reminding us of what we would call the difference between a Sunday morning Christian and a Monday morning Christian. The Sunday morning Christian will look to the other gods to supply their needs, and they'll be just as hungry as they ever were. But a Monday morning Christian looks to the true God and focuses on Him for the answers to life. Do you worship God alone? And do you serve God alone? You will not be happy until you do. A Monday morning Christian is not concerned about the Sunday community alone, but finding community with God and fellowship with God on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday. And coming back on Sunday to be with God's people and saying, let's worship God. Do you not know? Have you not heard, Isaiah said, the Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He doesn't grow tired or weary. His understanding, you could never figure this out. He gives strength to the weary, increases the power of the weak. Even youths that you think are full of energy and vibrancy, they grow tired, they grow weary. Young men full of power and might fall and stumble. But those who wait in the Lord, who hope in the Lord, will renew their strength. And I love the way it ends. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. You see the image there? The wings of eagles. one of the most powerful symbols that could ever be. The flight of the eagle, that is who you were made to be. If you look to God, worship God, focus on God, you'll get strength. You'll get strength. You may be tired this morning. You may need energy. You may have started school as a teacher or administrator. You may have begun your fall seasons and thought, that was only 1 week. How many more weeks do we have to go? Look to God and watch the power that comes into your life. But here's a caution for us. We need to look up. Here's what I do in my faith, and I've fallen into this trap time and time and time again, that I look up to God and I focus on God. You know, after my high school years, I had wandered away from God. I stopped going to church. I didn't want to have anything to do with God. God just kind of disappeared from my life. Even though as a young child, I had given my life to the Lord Jesus Christ. But by the end of my teenage years, I just kind of wandered off, went to college, did my own thing, until one day I felt the emptiness. I got tired. And I remember praying to God in my apartment one day saying, God, I feel like a robot. I don't feel like I'm experiencing anything. There's no feeling anymore. I don't feel alive. I just go through the motions. And I remember praying in my apartment and asking God, God, you've wandered off. No, wait a minute. I must have wandered off because you're always there. Come back into my life. I open my life to you. And I remember that night my life changing, and the next morning waking up to see the colors vibrant like I hadn't seen them in a long time. Everything was no longer two-dimensional, it was now three-dimensional. Everything had expanded, and I was so excited. I felt the energy come back, and I knew that God was real. And for the next year I walked with God, and I wanted to share with people about God's love. And if they open up their life, they'll experience the power of God. Jesus died for us so that we would live for Him. He raised from the dead so that we could raise with Him. That's power. But somehow over that year, my vision got back down on the earth again. I remember during that year, so excited about my brand new faith that I got up really early every morning. By 6 o'clock, I was out of the door every day of the week, Monday through Sunday. I was going to a prayer meeting before I went to work. I was working at a bank at that time, and after working at the bank all day long, I would go to a Bible study. I'd do this every single day, or I'd go out and share with people about the good news of God. I'd go to prayer meetings, and I was so invigorated in my faith until it became a chore. And my vision turned to the ground. I got so busy, I kept just looking down and walking, that all of a sudden I noticed God was no longer there. Well, at least that's the way it felt. God was always there. I was no longer there. I remember that what I had done is cast my vision from the God who's the Creator God, who is in all and through all, who is everywhere we go, and I started looking to the God called busyness. I would dare say the God called busyness is the most evil and powerful God today. We get too busy. We cast our vision from God to the earth. And boy, did I get tired. Until I came back and I said, God, I got too busy for you. I remember God saying, welcome home. Welcome home. The words of the psalmist in Psalm 46 says, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. In verse 10 of that same song, it says, this is God speaking, be still and know that I am God. I am exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Sometimes I read those words and I'm tempted to hear God add a little bit more to it that God's not speaking. Be still and know that I'm God. If you have time to be still. If you don't, then I won't interfere with your schedule. But that's not what God is saying. This is not a suggestion. This is a command. Be still. Be quiet. Stop your madness If you want help from your struggles, stop the frenzy. Stand still. Remember that I am God. I will be exalted. Your focus is no longer on me, and until it is, you're going to kill yourself. Look at me. I am God. And the moment we do that in this crazy and mad world, all of the problems begin to drop away. We sometimes forget that God is the God of the Sabbath day. That God created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh. And we often think, well, God, that's cute, that's good. I can work more than that. So we work 7 days or 8 days or 9 days, and we think there are no consequences for that. No, God is the God of the Sabbath day. And it's pretty arrogant when we think we can do more than God can. And God rested on the seventh day and told us to rest on the seventh day because by order of creation, that's who we are. We need the rest. In the 51 years that I have been living, I have realized that every time I've tried to add another day to my schedule just to get caught up on my work list, it only gets busier. I can never get rid of my work list. But when I take the Sabbath day and rest in God's presence, my priorities become refocused. Where are you this morning? Is your faith real? Does it translate to every day of the week? Have you lost your focus on God? I want to remind you what Jesus said. This is God come to earth, the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, the end, the first, the last, the one who is and was and is to come. He came to earth and he said to us, come to me, all you who labor and are heavily burdened, and I will give you rest. Isn't that beautiful? Get our eyes on Jesus. Those who wait for the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not be weary. Let me end the message today by saying that, and this fits because we end the Olympics today, correct? Tonight are the closing ceremonies. In the ancient world, the runner who ran the marathon and crossed the finish line first was not necessarily the winner. The one who crossed the finish line with their torch still lit was the winner. In our lives, getting our stuff done does not make us winners. It's getting through every day with our torch still lit for Jesus Christ. And one day I long to hear, as I cross from this life to the next life, I long to hear the words of Jesus. This is all I want. You can have everything else. I don't know about treasures in heaven. You can have mine. I don't know about mansions in heaven. I'd rather sleep on the city streets and be with God than live in mansions in a distant relationship with God. You can have it all. All I long to hear from Jesus, this would be my eternity, is for that one moment when he says to me, Ross, well done, thou good and faithful servant. I don't think he'll be saying that because I did a lot of work here on earth. I accomplished my checklist. I got it done. No. I believe that Jesus will say that because we kept our focus on Jesus, our focus on the God who created all things. Be still and know that I am God. Jesus will say, well done, because we kept our faith lit and crossed that finish line. You with me? You a Sunday morning Christian or a Monday morning Christian? Oh, please be the latter. It makes all the difference in this world. And we desperately need people who live out their faith unashamedly before this world, who fall, who stumble, who sin, but get up and say, I receive the mercy and grace of Jesus Christ in my life, and I'm doing this for him. Boy, this world would be changed if we saw Christians like that. Amen? Let's pray. Almighty God, keep our eyes focused on you. Help us to be still and know that you are God. Help us to look to you to receive power to the faint. Help us to run and not be weary as our eyes remain on you. Destroy the false gods who seek to kill in our lives, who seek to destroy. Lord, help us in our busy schedules not to worship the God of busyness, but the God who is the one who gives us rest. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
We hope this service has been a blessing to you. We also invite you to join us to worship in person on Sunday mornings. We have services at 9:15 and 11:15. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you.